Hello, my name is Will Sarkisian. I teach English at Sonora High School. And there are things revolving around this word communication. People always ask, hey, what is good communication? What's bad communication? We know what bad communication is. It's not hard to know what bad communication looks like. But what good communication is, someone walks away from a lesson or a lecture or any type of activity and they go, man, that was a really good series of communications right there. There are a few reasons why. The first thing is this. It's an active investigation on why we pay attention to anything. If you are active as a participant, you're in a crowd, it doesn't matter where you are, and you are into it, you're going to hear what's being said. Think about this, right? People voluntarily go to certain things. It's a rock concert, a church service even. And you look around, not everybody is locked in and engaged in what's happening. They're just not. You got a guy over here on a cell phone, looking at his laundry list of things to do. Someone's sleeping over there. Someone's at the back end of the concert going, this is boring, I want to go home. And the reality is, you voluntarily came here and you're not listening. So, if you want to know information, you got to listen to it. That's number one. The engagement also exists on the person who's talking. If they're not engaging, they're hard to listen to. If someone's kind of droning on and on and on, it's hard to hear what's coming out of their mouth. You just get lost in the process. Which then leads me to the next thing. It's got to be relevant. Whatever you're saying has to have relevance. Now the problem is this. It doesn't matter until it matters. Let me explain what I mean by that. If you tell somebody, hey, don't touch that fireplace over there, it's going to be hot. And let's say my 4-year-old son goes, whatever, Dad, I'm doing it. And he doesn't listen to me. Now I communicated. I told him, hey, that fireplace is hot. But the reality was, my instruction wasn't relevant to him at that moment in time. Now, my 4-year-old son disregards my message. He walks over, burns his hand on said fireplace, looks at me and realizes, oh man, Dad, I guess you were right. Well, now it's relevant. The hard part is, how do you make sure that someone doesn't wait too long to where they actually get hurt for not hearing your information? So it's got to be relevant. Why does it matter to you? If it matters, we're going to listen. There's a reason why we voluntarily go to lectures. You guys voluntarily came to this event right here. We voluntarily show up, which means we ought to be engaged. But I'll bet $5. There's some people in the audience right now that are going, look at this guy. What's he talking about? Because it's not relevant to you until it's relevant. But we have to find a way to pay attention and make sure that the audience that we're talking to has relevant information to pay attention to. And the third thing, it's got to be clear. Now, we live in an information-heavy environment. You guys got Twitter, you got Instagram, you got Facebook, you got Snapchat, you got every possible thing known to man. And schools are no different. You got Google, you got your Gmail coming through, right? You got your communicator device that goes to your cell phone, your home line, your dad's cell phone, your mom's cell phone, your grandma's cell phone, your great-grandma's cell phone. She didn't have a cell phone, but she's getting a notification about something happening at school tomorrow. And so people get inundated by information, which means even though they're hearing it in every possible format, people will often say, oh, I didn't know that. No one told me that. When in reality, someone totally told them that, but they didn't hear it. Because again, it wasn't relevant, and therefore it couldn't be clear, and therefore there's no way they could have been engaged actively in the process of getting that information. So, as future leaders here, one thing you guys have to understand, whatever we say to somebody, it's got to make sense. It's got to mean something to them. And then lastly, they have to engage in it actively. You guys who are athletes out there, I guarantee you've had a coach give you instruction, tell you how to run a certain play or do a certain drill. And it doesn't matter until it matters. I had a point guard years ago in basketball. He didn't want to go left. A younger kid, junior high age, didn't want to go left, didn't want to go left. I said, you got to learn to dribble with your weak side. You got to go to your left. Well, why? Well, why? Finally, somebody played defense on the kid. They blocked down his right side. He had to go left. And then all of a sudden, now he wants to hear the information, right? It's that way with all sorts of things. My son with the stove, people in classrooms, even teachers in meetings. People tell us stuff, but we don't listen to it until it matters. So, all that to be said, as leaders, make sure when you guys are speaking to people, they got to be listening. And you have to be listening to what they need, which will then lead you to what's going to be relevant and how you can make that clear. Thanks a lot, guys. Good luck.